Oh, man, come on, get it. Hurry. Oh, damn, what is this? What is going on? Just go back. Yeah, that's more like it. This is the Short Sports Show with your host, Daniel Short. Oh, really? That's what I'm going to get? Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Wednesday, September 7th, 2016. And I might not sound any different. I don't know. I've tested some settings, but this is the first show with the brand new microphone. It's amazing. It's top of the line, and it's all thanks to you guys for supporting the show, for me to be able to get this, because again, just like I always say, I would be a guy just talking to a microphone to nobody, but you guys have supported the show so much that I'm able to get something nice like this. I also got some decorations coming in so we can get our studio actually looking really well, really nice, professional, instead of just like 2 San Diego Chargers posters and some mini helmets. So that'll be on its way next week. But once again, thank you guys so much for the support. And we got a jam-packed show, a ton of news to talk about. College football, of course. We're going to recap week 1, which was an exciting week 1. And then we also going to talk our predictions for week 2, which we did pretty well week 1. Only got 3 wrong. And yes, I will talk about those 3 wrongs. Also, NFL news. Obviously, the Eagles are starting their brand new era with a brand new quarterback, Carson Wentz. They're giving the keys to the offense to Carson Wentz, for a guy that only played just a few snaps. And he is now the starting quarterback. So we'll talk about that as well. Also, it's never too early to talk about the 2017 NFL draft class, because guess what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to be talking to Matt Yustin, our basically now insider draft analyst for the NFL. We're going to talk to him later on in the show. I did plan on having Michael Rakpo, but some things came up where we weren't able to schedule the right time. But he will be on next week's show. So Michael Rakpo with InnerGrind, he will be on next week's show. And to that, we got something also brand new. We have a new advertiser for the show. It's Tongue FM. Now, Tongue FM is a podcast player designed to help you discover the best podcasts. With Tongue, you get a feed of what your friends are recommending. You can also share clips of podcasts on Twitter and Facebooks. You can comment on episodes, mention friends so they can get a notification about it. It's about time there's a podcast app where you can find out about all the great podcasts that are out there without relying on iTunes reviews, which, you know, for me, I love listening to different people's podcasts. So this is now a new way I can do that. That's Tongue, TUNG.FM, or search Tongue FM on the App Store. It is an awesome app. I've already downloaded it. And I'm not just saying that, I really have. It's awesome. It's already got a few of the podcasts that I listen to, and now I'm able to listen to them offline as well. But yes, check them out. Also, InnerGrind, go ahead and check them out. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? Now, whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not in the Houston area? Not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. And we got some quick hits, a brand new little quick segment that we're going to do for the show. Something just news that have happened. Of course, former USC head coach Steve Sarkisian has been hired by Alabama as an analyst. Head coach Nick Saban announced Monday, so he could be there. But with that, his special role is he can only watch film of the games and practice and provide input on the overall direction of the team, including the game plan. He, however, cannot have a hands-on coaching role interacting with players on the football field. So he can only just be kind of in the background to help them out, which you might have already did a little sneak peek for that USC game. Just saying. I mean, you had Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian, the last two head coaches at USC before Clay Helton, and Alabama plays them. And they might have had some insider. No, I think Alabama was just already that good anyways, but probably did help. Also, LSU suspended offensive guard Josh Bout on Monday for a one-game suspension for his personal foul on Wisconsin defensive back on Saturday's game. That was after the Brandon Harris game-ending interception. And then, Josh decided to just take all his anger out, which was a very stupid move, and I'm glad Les Miles did suspend him for one game. Sadly, that game's not really going to matter for LSU because guess what? They're taking on Jacksonville State. I mean, that doesn't really do anything, but it is a somewhat set an example, I guess. The Iowa Hawkeyes have given longtime head coach Kirk Ferentz a 6-year contract extension and a raise through the 2025 season. The school announced on Tuesday it will make $4.5 million per season under the new extension, which the school said runs through January 31st of 2026 to be exact. Excuse me. Also, he's been paid a little over $4 million under his old agreement, but now this gives him $4.5 million, and not a bad deal for Kirk Ferentz. Also, Houston quarterback Greg Ward Jr., who missed Sunday's practice and Monday's practice, is saying he had an MRI and showed no structural damage on his shoulder, on his throwing shoulder. Now, Tom Herman said that Ward felt a lot better on Monday and is expected to return to practice today on Wednesday. But when asked if there was a chance that Ward could sit out this week's game, Herman said, yeah, end quote. He said, yeah, twice. So I'm not repeating. Now, Ward, he did receive a shot in his shoulder as part of the treatment on Tuesday. And it might be safe to sit Greg Ward. They play Lamar this week. A lot of this week is going to be kind of, for a lot of teams, we all had the big games week 1, and then now week 2 is kind of the cupcake kind of week, right? There's no real big games this week against two top teams. And for Houston, it's a basically guarantee you're going to beat Lamar. So might as well just set Greg Ward out. Already missed a couple of days of practice, might even miss today. Why risk it? All it takes is one shot, and you could just hurt him for the rest of the season. It could be a lingering issue later on. So might as well just sit him out now. Last bit of news before we get into our first topic, and that is former NFL quarterback and Texas A&M star quarterback Johnny Manziel. Yes, he is doing something productive, supposedly. He's now taking classes at Texas A&M this semester. He's listed as a senior whose major is in recreation, parks, and tourism sciences. So he is back at A&M taking some classes. They did not say if they're online or not. He did take online classes towards the later part of his A&M career because of the popularity. Now, while he's still Johnny Manziel, he's still Johnny Football to a lot of people, he might just be a normal person going to class now. Finally, last bit actually, Ole Miss starting cornerback Kim Webster and backup running back Eric Sweeney will miss the remainder of the 2016 season with knee injuries. Now, the loss of Webster, it hurts the most, even though at running back they're still pretty thin, because they are already having to replace two starters in the secondary this season. They gave up 419 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air alone to FSU. Not good at all. Not good at all. And now you lose another starting cornerback. Ole Miss, we're going to talk about you because you hurt me. You hurt me pretty well. Now, one of the things that was pretty interesting, and now that we've seen the new AP poll that came out, is should there be rankings before week 4 of the college football season. We're still trying to figure everybody out, right? Going into the season, you kind of know who's who. Deshaun Watson at Clemson, Alabama being Alabama. Florida State has some talent with Dalvin Cook, Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, we kind of knew who was who in a way. But then again, you had LSU up there pretty high. You didn't have Texas ranked. You didn't have Wisconsin ranked. And a few other teams. And now we get the new AP poll, which completely, I disagree with a lot of it. Now, Alabama being number 1 is right. This is the new one. Clemson number 2 is right. Number 3, Florida State is right. Or actually, well, maybe. 4 is Ohio State, then 5, Michigan. 6 is Houston. Not bad. I think they should have bumped them up a little bit more. I know they go from 15 to 6, but still. Then you have Stanford, Washington, Georgia, and then Wisconsin at number 10 and Texas number 11. Both teams, again, which were unranked, and we knew they were going to have the hype. Well, not Wisconsin. That one is completely ridiculous. LSU drops from 5 to 21. Right? And I feel like what we saw from LSU, that's probably, even though it's a huge drop, that's probably right, given what we saw. But Wisconsin going from unranked to number 10 in the country. And even if they were number 25, I don't think number 10 is Wisconsin. I don't think they're the 10th best team. I think even though Michigan State struggled against Furman, I think Michigan State would beat Wisconsin, which we'll actually see. I think even Oklahoma's better than Wisconsin. I think Louisville's better than Wisconsin. I think Iowa's better than Wisconsin. I think Oklahoma State might be better. 10 is too high. And we're going to talk about Texas later in the show, but you start wondering, should there really be rankings before week 4? And I know this it's not going to change. There will always be rankings because guess what? It gets people talking. AP loves it, of course, and they really need to use all of it because their rankings end up not mattering when the college football rankings come out later in the season. And that's when it starts really getting serious. Because all of this, again, it's just week 2, right? We're just entering week 2. Half of these teams won't even be in the top 20. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could fall off. I mean, just how it is. I don't see Wisconsin being a top 10 team at the end of the season, not even a top 15 team, no disrespect. And I don't see Texas being a top 10 team as well. The hype train for Texas is going to be absolutely ridiculous, especially because the next 2 weeks they've got UTEP, and then they have at Cal, and then the real test. And I'm not taking anything away from their win against Notre Dame. Again, we'll talk about Texas in a little bit. And then they got Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State, and then the Red River rivalry with Oklahoma the following week. Then we'll really find out where Texas is at. But I think Wisconsin and Texas, that's way too high. I think Texas should have been about 19-ish. I think that would have been a solid jump, and Wisconsin being about 22, 21, 20, somewhere around there. I think 10 and 11 is way too overhyped, way too soon. And we'll have to see. But I want to get your opinion on should there be rankings this soon, because a lot of people are saying that, entering week 1, we saw that teams weren't where they really were, like LSU and a few others. And, should we wait 4 weeks to really find out where a team should be ranked? Let me know in the comment section down below. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense waiting to find out who is who by week 4. I mean, injuries might have happened. God forbid injuries happen, but they do. By then you really see, you get through some of the cupcake games. They start entering their conference schedules if they haven't already. You really start figuring out who's who by then. Now, again, I don't see the AP poll and the coaches poll getting taken away or waiting until week 4. It's just not going to happen. But it starts giving the idea of, should you really even care about the poll? Because honestly, when I saw Texas at 11 and Wisconsin 10, that's my biggest issue. And it's ridiculous. It really is. That's way too high of a jump for teams that we still have so many questions. This Texas team still gave up 47 points to Notre Dame. And everybody wants to say, oh, Notre Dame's not the same team. Well, there you go. Why is Texas so high? Yes, they're a brand new team. It's a brand new Texas team, a much improved Texas team. I'm not saying that they're not worthy of being ranked. What I am saying is that there's no damn way they should be ranked in the top 15. Neither is Wisconsin. So Wisconsin's offense is going to get beat down by some pretty good teams like, I don't know, Ohio State, Michigan State most likely. And I get Michigan State struggled against Furman. That was embarrassing. But again, we don't buy too much into that. That's my issue. So again, the top 10 is Alabama, Clemson, Florida State, which should they really be number 3? I mean, yes, it was an incredible comeback against Ole Miss, but at the same time, they were still a team that got beat down pretty badly and showed some major flaws. And some surprisingly, it looked like they were just unexperienced. I mean, they bring back so much on the offense, yet they looked shaky, they looked nervous, they looked scared against Ole Miss. Should they really be a number 3 team? I think Ohio State's better than them. And Michigan, I put my money on Michigan over Florida State. We'll have to see. But at Florida State, number 3, Ohio State, number 4, Michigan at 5, with Houston at 6, Stanford, UW Huskies, they look like the most complete team. At 8, Georgia at 9, and then of course Wisconsin at 10. It's a little shaky there. So we're going to do I don't know if this will be a new segment that will input for our college football talk, but it's something we're going to do obviously this week. Going to have the risers and the losers of week 1. Now risers, obviously, who showed up, who looked good, who had some questions yet prevailed. First up, and this is I'm only doing 5 teams, and this isn't not saying they look the best out of all these other teams. It's all just teams I just came straight to my head, started typing up. First one is the Houston Cougars. Now, we don't like talking about playoffs, so, week 1. We like to give our little predictions, and then that's about it until we get to the college football playoff poll. But Houston, they get the exemption. They get the exemption because of the fact that had they lost to Oklahoma, their playoff ticket is gone. The only way Houston would have made the playoffs is if the top 3 teams had at least one loss. Number 1 could have had, no losses. They could have been undefeated, but 2 and 3 and 4 would have to have at least one loss. And that 4th team, that 3rd and 4th team, and maybe in that 5th team, have to have 2 losses for Houston to make a debate on whether or not they should get in. And I know, well, they would have lost to Oklahoma, right? And Oklahoma's pretty good. Yeah, but the college football committee, they don't look at it like that. They're going to look at Houston. You couldn't beat the big team. You're not going to the playoffs. So Houston had to win this game for them to even be in the discussion, and now they're a serious contender. And I think, obviously, we saw Houston showed up. Houston showed up and dominated Oklahoma throughout the game. First quarter, I think it's easy to say both teams were still obviously trying to figure each other out. And it gave us one heck of a quarter. It gave us one heck of a game. But Houston just, in the second half, made the adjustments where they showed how dominant they were. And they took that anger of you being a group of 5 member, you not being in the Big 12, you can't stay with us. And they took all of it out on Oklahoma and dominated that game and just pushed the offensive line of Oklahoma like crazy. And Ed Oliver is an absolute stud. We knew it going into the season that this guy had the potential and the ceiling to be one of the top defenders a couple years down the line. And he's already showed that he's already up there. He's made some huge strides, and he's got some serious talent. So Houston, They've got him for at least another 2 years after this season. So Houston, definitely one of the biggest risers this week and a very serious contender. Up next is Baylor. Now, as a TCU fan, it hurt me, but I'm not biased here. No bias on the Short Sports Show. Not here. Not going to find it here. Maybe sometimes, but very little. Very, very little. Now, after losses and a terrible offseason this past year for Baylor responded with a dominating victory over Northwestern State, in which they should. It's Northwestern State, but, and again, they're supposed to win this game big time. They won 55-7, but knowing that Seth Russell was completely healthy, and he looked good out there. He didn't look like he missed a step at all. And Katie Cannon looked as good as well. Shock Linwood looked really good. The defense looked a lot better. And it was Northwestern State. It's one of the cupcake games that Baylor always plays. They got about 3 more on the schedule. But it was good to see for Baylor fans out there that, hey, you still have a very talented team. You still have something potentially special at Baylor, football-wise. So it was good to see that Baylor, they're healthy, and they looked almost like a complete team. They really did. And now you just got to see what they look like against some better teams and non-Northwestern State type teams. Another team is the UW Huskies. University of Washington. Huskies look like one of the most complete teams out there. Offensively, defensively, special teams. They look like the most complete team out of everybody. They really did. Now, they played Rutgers, which, solid. It's okay. But they had a resounding victory over the weekend against Rutgers, a 48-13 victory. Jake Browning to John Ross was just a beautiful connection to watch over and over and over again. And again, the UW's, their defense it's going to be the best in the Pac-12, that's for sure. And it's going to be one of the best in the country this season. It really is. UW looked, again, I'll say it over and over, they look like the most complete team in the country this past week. And now they get Idaho this week, so I'm not going to, that's about much love I'm going to give the UW Huskies right now. They moved up from 14-8 in the AP poll, and, it's Idaho. I don't even know why they have a football program. It's terrible. Have you seen their home stadium? It holds about 18,000. That's tops. 18,000 people. It's a damn basketball arena. And no disrespect to Syracuse, but it's a much worse stadium here. Next is Georgia. Now, they had a close game against North Carolina, but the return of Nick Chubb. Woo, man, he looked dominant out there. It was special. The Heisman dark horse rushed over 32 times, had 222 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also Georgia found their quarterback of the future with Jacob Eason. There was hype going into him in the offseason as a freshman. Could he be the guy? Had a strong arm, but could translate into week 1. Could translate straight into college football. And he looked mature enough. He handled the situations. It wasn't the prettiest stat line, but he got the job done. And it's only going to get better. Georgia and Nick Chubb. Thank you, Nick Chubb, for coming back. He looked great out there. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good for Nick Chubb. And finally, this one kills me. Texas. Texas. Is Texas back? Well, we won't know that till midseason. Now, of course, Texas fans, they're going to tell you, oh yeah, they're definitely back. It's Big 12 championship. It's college football championship. Yeah. That's all you're going to hear from Texas fans. So just ignore them. But we do know that this is a very different team. Very different Texas team. No doubt about it. The most improved team. But there's still questions. Defensively, need to get better. Offensively, it was fast, but you also saw the inexperience of running that up-tempo offense. John Burt looked like the best receiver, but he also looked like the worst receiver with I don't know how many drops. And Charlie Strong, he saved himself another year or two, which is great. I love Charlie Strong, and I said it when University of Texas hired Charlie Strong from Louisville. One, I didn't want them to hire him because I knew he could turn that program back to what it was, right? Back to continually being a top 10, top 5 program in the country. As a TCU fan, I didn't want him to be there. He was hired, and I was like, all right, give it a couple years. He's going to turn that program around. And it finally happened. Now, I'm not jumping on the Longhorns hype train. Not for what? Not till I see what they look like at Oklahoma State in 3 weeks from now. When I see that, and if they can dominate Oklahoma State on the road, I'm sold on Texas. I'm sold on Texas if that happens. If they struggle, then I know they are still not the team that everybody's saying they're going to win 9 games, 8 games this season. If they can't look good against Oklahoma State on the road, which is very tough to do, but with all the hype they're getting, number 11 into the country now, number 11, and it's only going to get higher because they got UTEP this upcoming week, and then they have at Cal, which they should win both games. It's only going to get higher. There'll be most likely, depending on what we see, if anybody drops, we could potentially see a top number 5 Texas team against a top 15 Oklahoma State team by then. So we'll see what Texas looks like once that happens. Now, Shane Buechele, which I got the name right this time. I was saying Buechele or something like that before. Shane Buechele looked good out there. He did. And this 2 quarterback system, I don't know how long it's going to work, but this season with the game planning of it might be successful this year. And Tyrone Swoops, he's a senior, so he's going to be gone next year, and it's going to be all Buechele trained from there. Texas is definitely on the right track. I'm not a Texas hater. I'm not. But at the same time, I'm realistic here. And the defense still shows its struggles. And the Notre Dame, Deshaun Kaiser, great quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But there's a lot better offenses in the Big 12 alone that are better than Notre Dame's. And Texas will have to compete with that each and every week here pretty soon. Can they do that? We'll see. Honorable mentions, though, Texas A&M, Iowa, Wisconsin, Texas State. Huge win for them. Michigan, Ohio State, and Florida State were all risers this week as well, but I believe those 5 teams just got a little bit more love. So what about the losers of the week, right? The fallers, the losers. That'd have to be UCLA. Josh Rosen and the Bruins were one of the biggest disappointments this past week. I had them beating Texas A&M by, I think I said a touchdown or 2. Pretty sure I said 2 touchdowns. And they just failed offensively. Very badly. 3 bad interceptions and really no offense. There was no offense of UCLA until the 4th quarter. And the Bruins, they just got pushed around. They really did. And I bet Josh Rosen now knows the difference between 50,000 screaming drunk fans at Kyle Field from 50,000 to about 100,000 of them. Because it was definitely there. It was definitely there. And he struggled. He did not look like the Rosen one, which is a stupid name. And it was shocking. I really thought UCLA was the better team than Texas A&M. I knew Texas A&M defense going into it, but I really assumed that UCLA would be able to handle this with the whole offseason prepare for this A&M defense. And really with Perkins at running back, with Rosen at quarterback, I really believed that UCLA would have got the job done, and they failed. Next up is Oregon. It was a very sloppy game against UC Davis. Now, Royce Freeman was about the only bright spot for the Oregon Ducks, but this game should have been a 60-10, 60-17 type of game. It was not so much. Like 58-23. Oregon, it was still showing they had some defensive issues that has not been fixed over the past several years now. And it's a little worrisome how they're going to go into the Pac-12 playing some really good teams. And I don't think they're going to compete. This might be an 8-4 type of Oregon team, which is weird to say. And I was talking to my cousin Carlos yesterday. We were out throwing, and it hit me knowing that there's really not a star on this Oregon team like in several years. Like the past several years have been. You know, we had DeAnthony Thomas, you had Marcus Mariota, of course, Mariota going to be the main guy. Number 24, not Thomas Tyner, the guy before him, the running back. Played for Barner. Yeah, Barner. You had LaMichael James. You always had that one guy. Now, Royce Freeman, he's probably that guy, but I don't feel like he gets that same star status as DeAnthony Thomas did back when he was at Oregon. It's very weird. Now, I'm not saying this Oregon team's bad, but it's looking like an 8-4 type of Oregon team. After that, of course, the Oklahoma Sooners, they were just outplayed and worse. They were out-coached by the Houston Cougars. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy on OU because, they have a tough schedule. They got Ohio State here soon. They have to get ready for that. That'll be an exciting game. They could always bounce back from that. And obviously the Big 12 schedule and who they played there. I'm not going to go too crazy on OU. They lost to a really good Houston team, but with all the media hype that they got and Baker Mayfield going in, you really thought OU wouldn't get pushed around like they did. You really thought it'd been the opposite. And they were the ones that got pushed around. They look like the little brothers. We'll see. Florida Gators, man, that game was just, I didn't even want to watch it. It was boring. It was ugly. They beat UMass 24-7. I didn't even want to watch the highlights. It was ugly. It was ugly. Florida Gators need to fix it because, man, what a waste of talent on that team because it just looked bad. And, of course, the last team, the losers of the week, has to go to LSU. With so much talk about a brand new offense, the hype with Leonard Fournette, which I still love Leonard Fournette, and Brandon Harris stepping up as quarterback. Looked like the same LSU team that we've seen the past several years. A lot of talent, no offense. No offense. And I feel bad for Brandon Harris. I really do. I feel bad for him, but he's bad. He is bad. It's bad. And it's weird to think that there's so much talent in the state of Louisiana, and LSU being the big top dog school and always recruiting, always being in the top 5 of recruiting. They cannot get a quarterback. They cannot get a quarterback. They can get D linemen, corners, receivers. Oh, they get every single position, kickers and punters as well. They get the top of the best, but they cannot get a good quarterback. It's very strange. It's very strange. Now, credit to Wisconsin's defense, but when you have the best running back in the country, you should be able to set that running game up so well that the passing game, it just takes an average quarterback to get the job done. And sadly, it looks like Brandon Harris is not even an average quarterback. He might be one of the worst quarterbacks on a top team, which LSU is no longer a top team. It's now the 21st team in the country right now. But Cam Cameron and Harris, not working out. Honorable mentions for the losers is, of course, Ole Miss, giving up a huge lead in what was a dominating fashion victory had it only been a 2-quarter game. Switched very quickly. Notre Dame, obviously my TCU Horned Frogs, I'll admit it, defense was terrible. Almost lost to South Dakota State. Not North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Auburn just looked ugly. USC, I knew they were going to get blown out, but I kind of felt bad because watching that pregame, I kind of wanted them to win. And Michigan State, terrible, terrible victory over Furman. But that is the risers and losers. Let me know who your risers and losers of week 1 are and who you think will be the risers and losers of week 2. So, let's recap some other games, though. Some of the games that really stuck out in my mind, of course, Appalachian State and Tennessee. Yeah. Tennessee is exactly who I thought they were. And I got so much hate from social media, from Twitter, from YouTube, everywhere you can imagine. Because I didn't mean to bash Tennessee, but I knew they were not a top 10 team. I knew it. And I said it. And I got hate. Well, what do you know? Now, I don't mean to say that I know it all, because I said A&M would lose to UCLA by a couple touchdowns. I picked Notre Dame to beat Texas 33-17. And I also picked Ole Miss to beat Florida State. So I don't know it all. And I don't ever say I do. I don't. But the Vols edge by Appalachian State in overtime, 20-13. Now, Appalachian State, they're a pretty good team. They won a bowl game last season, and their transition from FCS football, from a powerhouse there to FBS, they've been pretty good. I don't think they've had a losing season yet. But Tennessee needed an Appalachian State missed field goal, a missed extra point, and a fumble in the end zone recovery to beat Appalachian State. And Joshua Dobbs did not look like a Heisman dark horse, did not look like a Heisman contender. He was 16 of 29, 192 yards, and 1 touchdown to 1 interception. That's not a Heisman. That's not. And he did not lead this team. Now, Jalen Hurd, he looked all right. He was okay, 28 carries, 110 yards. But overall, this Tennessee team was outplayed, and of course is not a top 10 team. So let's move on from Tennessee. And it's hype that they get every single season that they are a top 10 team, and how they're going to win the SEC, and how they're going to give Alabama their money, a run for their money, and that Tennessee is a college football playoff contender. Move on. Get over it. They're not. They're not. And they won't be this season. They got the victory, but man, it was bad. USC and Alabama, a game which, again, I said USC was going to get rolled on by Alabama. And when I started watching the pregame for the USC-Alabama game, I felt bad because I really liked USC. I really did. I was like, man, not that I think they were going to win it. I was just hoping that they would win the game, because I really do like USC. And I felt bad. Now, Bama outgained USC 465 yards to 194. It wasn't close, ladies and gentlemen. It was not. First quarter was, or even I think the first half was fun to watch. After that, ouch. Alabama really doesn't know what rebuilding means. I don't think that's in their vocabulary, their dictionary. I don't think they know what rebuilding. I don't think they've ever heard that word. Not since Dennis Franchione was there. Alabama reloads every single year. It does not matter if they have Derrick Henry. It does not matter if they even have a quarterback. It does not matter what DB they lost to the NFL in the first round. It does not matter what defensive end or defensive lineman they lost to the NFL in the first round, or linebackers, because they just reload and they just produce more and more first rounders. Now, there's a lot of hype also going around Jalen Hurts, and he looked pretty good. He did. He did. He's just a redshirt freshman. He's got a lot to learn. He's going to make his mistakes. He's going to make some mistakes. And might even make some in some big-time games. But it seems like the media is giving him just a little bit too much credit. I think it was defense on this one. Offensive game planning, maybe. I don't think Jalen Hurts was the reason Alabama won this game by a big-time score. And I also don't think that Jalen Hurts is a lock for being the quarterback of the future. I think he'll end up in that position, but I don't think it's because of him being a star or being a stud because of the USC game. He's good. He's definitely good. Don't get me wrong. But I don't. If I'm an Alabama fan, I don't feel. If it came down to the line where my offense is on the field and they got to go win the game, I don't know if I'm that comfortable. I don't know if I'm ready to put all the trust in Jalen Hurts like a lot of media is. And a lot of fans are giving Jalen Hurts the star status. I don't know yet. I'm not sold. No, I'm not sold yet. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me on that one. Another game is Clemson and Auburn. This game was kind of boring, honestly. Not because it was a defensive game, but it was so sloppy. So sloppy. Deshaun Watson, he did not start his Heisman campaign the right way. The team got the W, but Watson was 19 of 34, 248 yards, and a touchdown and interception. It was a really ugly game. Thanks in part of Auburn's offensive game plan. Or lack thereof, really. They said, screw it. Let's just throw every quarterback we got on the roster and get them out there, see what we can do. Now, Shaun White, he did the best, and I'm throwing up the bunny ears, the little quotes on best, for Auburn, which doesn't say much. He was 10 of 21, 140 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. It was bad. It was bad. Auburn just looked miserable. They looked ugly out there. I mean, and you could say, well, there's some good news for Auburn is that they held Clemson to 19 points. And yeah, that's good. But I also think that's one of those first game type of things where we won't see Clemson being held to 19 points by any other team. And I also don't see Auburn's defense being one of the best in the SEC. I think it's just one of those first game type of scores. Wayne Gallman looked like an absolute monster. 30 carries, 123 yards, and touchdown. Mike Williams, he returned from a devastating injury last season with a big game, 174 yards on 9 catches. So Clemson looks like they'll be all right. Auburn, not so much. Oklahoma and Houston went at it. Now, Oklahoma once again forgot that they could run the ball. Last season, it took them about midway through the year for them to figure out that, hey, we have Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon and can't remember his first name, but last name was Ford. We got these guys. They look pretty good. I think they can run the ball. Oh, man. Halfway through the season, they started running the ball, and they looked really well. It's kind of a repeat thing now. They didn't run the ball. They ran it 12 times with Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon. 6 times each to those two guys. Samaje Perine is one of the best running backs in the country. Doesn't get talked about, but he's a dominant powerhouse right there. And Joe Mixon is kind of that change of pace back. Really good. Obviously, we saw him catch out of the backfield for a touchdown. But OU really deserved to lose this game. Baker Mayfield, he admitted that he was just looking for the big plays. He was looking for the big-time plays, and he failed to go through his normal progressions. Oklahoma's D-line got pushed around a lot more than I thought they would. Now, Houston is in a really good spot. Greg Ward looked better as a passer. Much better. Much better. And Duke Catalon, he's a pretty nice back for the Houston Cougars. He's a pretty nice back. So we'll see. Houston obviously got to worry about Greg Ward. He might sit out. He was 23 of 40, 321 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the game. LSU, Wisconsin. LSU can't throw the ball. That's my analysis. That's it. Moving on. UCLA and Texas A&M. We already talked about this game. You know, I was just shocked to see UCLA get pushed around as well. And Notre Dame, Texas. Let the hype train begin for Texas. Notre Dame, it's going to be okay, though. Kaiser's the guy. Kaiser is the guy. Sean Kaiser is legit. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up and do our predictions, and then we'll move on to the NFL. I know we've already spent 42 minutes, Jesus, on our college football news alone. This Friday, we have Louisville taking on Syracuse. Now, Louisville is a 14.5-point favorite. This game is at 7 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2, and I am taking Syracuse. I'm going with the upset, baby. In the Carrier Dome? I think it might be in the Carrier Dome. This might be a neutral site, so my bad. But Dino Babers, baby. Remember the name, Dino Babers. Head coach of Syracuse. Syracuse got a high-flying offense as well. And we'll really see Lamar Jackson, see if he's, everybody's, 8 touchdowns. What was it, 6 in the first half or all 8 in the first half? Well, let's see. Now, Syracuse doesn't have a dominant defense, but I think Syracuse pulls out the upset here. Syracuse, I'm going with them. Prairie View A&M taking on Texas A&M. 11 a.m. on Saturday on the SEC Network. Of course, going A&M here. And a lot of these games, guys, it's self-explanatory. I mean, it's just going to be cupcake games. And that's just kind of what happens first 2 weeks. Central Michigan at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State 20.5 point favorite. This game's on Fox Sports 1. Going with Oklahoma State. Nicholas taking on number 9 Georgia on the SEC Network. Going with Georgia. UCF taking on Michigan, going with Michigan on this game's on ABC. Lamar versus Houston, with or without Greg Ward, Houston wins this game. This game will be on ESPN3 on Watch ESPN app. Troy taking on number 2 Clemson, taking Clemson here. This game is on the ACC Network at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Charleston Southern. I feel like you gotta say that in a Southern way. Charleston Southern taking on number 3 Florida State. Taking Florida State here with the victory. Akron taking on Wisconsin. Come on, Akron. Wisconsin will take this game. A very interesting game. If you're already bored with all those games, at 2:30 Central Time on Fox Sports 1, this game should actually be very entertaining. It'll be SMU taking on number 23 Baylor. 2 high-flying, explosive offenses, and last year 2 terrible defenses. So this should be fun to watch. Now ESPN has Baylor a 32-point favorite. Now I'm not a betting man, but I think I would take the bet on the under on this one. I don't know if Baylor will beat SMU by 23 points. Now SMU's defense again is still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad. But I think SMU can put enough points on the board where it's a little bit closer. Maybe 21 points. Somewhere around there. I think Baylor gets a victory here, but SMU, I mean, they're playing for something. Chad Morris, he could become the new head coach at Baylor next season because Jim Grobe's not going to be there. And SMU, they're trying to still get in the Big 12. I don't see it happening, but there's still apparently a contender. They want to put up a good game. So this is going to be very interesting to watch. A lot of things on the line here for SMU and Baylor. Nevada taking on Notre Dame on NBC at 2:30. Taking Notre Dame here. Western Kentucky taking on good old Alabama. This game is apparently a 28.5 point favor in favor of Alabama. I'm going to take the over here. I think Alabama's going to put up a little bit more than that. This game will actually be on ESPN2, which is kind of shocking. Tulsa against Ohio State, taking Ohio State here. Wofford and Ole Miss, taking Ole Miss. Idaho, Washington, taking Washington. FAU versus the U, Miami, taking Miami. Louisiana Monroe taking on Oklahoma, taking Oklahoma. UTEP taking on Texas. Hopefully UTEP can give them a game and beat them, but no, it'll be Texas. Arkansas at TCU. TCU is a 7.5 point favorite. This game is on ESPN at 6 p.m. Central Time. Of course, taking my Frogs here all the way. Hopefully the defense can show up this time. Offensively, I think we're going to light it up again. Arkansas, they can't throw the ball, so a lot of things in favor for TCU. Iowa State taking on Iowa. Going to take Iowa here. Let's see. Jacksonville State taking on LSU. Virginia Tech versus Tennessee. This game is at the Bridgestone or Bridgeport. Some NASCAR place. This is stupid. I wouldn't be shocked if Virginia Tech wins this game. You know what? Let's go ahead and make it. Virginia Tech. I'm taking Virginia Tech, baby. The Hokies. Taking the Hokies here. Tennessee's 11.5 point favorite. This game is on at 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And I'm taking Virginia Tech. And finally, Virginia taking on Oregon. Oregon 25 point favorite. This game's on ESPN at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Taking the Oregon Ducks. So let me know in the comment section who you got, who are your picks. Only got 3 losses last week, so not bad. Not bad. I think might get the Tennessee game wrong, and I also picked Syracuse to beat Louisville, so might get 2 wrong. But I'm sticking with them. Virginia Tech over Tennessee and Louisville over Syracuse. I'm going with it. All right, let's take a quick break here on the Short Sports Show. We are finished our first hour, I guess you could basically say, of college football news. Moving on to the NFL, we still got a lot to talk about. You are listening to the Short Sports Show. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking into a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? And whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not a Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. Moving on to the NFL, we have Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer did not name a starting quarterback for the season, Sunday season opener on Monday, but they did release the new depth chart, the first of the season, and they have Shaun Hill ahead of Sam Bradford at quarterback. So, in a way, I guess we kind of know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings as they open up the season against the Tennessee Titans. Now, Mike Zimmer did say Bradford and Shaun Hill, they were going to split some first-team reps this week, and that the Vikings would see how both quarterbacks perform before deciding on the opener. Now, of course, we all remember Teddy Bridgewater getting hurt. Sucks. Viking season, I think, is basically over with that. I don't see them in the playoffs. There's no way. I know I got the helmet up here. I need to change it. The NFC North is so weak. You have the Packers. They're going to win it. Lions still kind of suck. And the Bears, a lot of people having them as the worst team, even lower than the Browns. I feel like that's up for a debate, but man, it's just not good. I don't see the Vikings making it now. So the Vikings, they sent their 2017 first round pick and a conditional 2018 fourth round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for Sam Bradford. And Bridgewater, he's actually having his surgery tomorrow on Thursday. So do you think Sam Bradford should be the starter? Is the Viking season over? I think it is. I think it's over before it even started. I don't see them winning the NFC North. I don't see them making the playoffs. Is Shaun Hill going to be the guy to really lead this team? I know everybody's going to say AP and Laquan Treadwell and Stephon Diggs and the defense. They should give them 7-8 games. Maybe that pushes them. I just don't see it. I don't see Shaun Hill being the guy, and I don't see Sam Bradford being the guy to get them enough wins for playoffs. And if they did get in the playoffs, you're probably going to see one of the biggest blowouts because the NFC is so strong that it's not going to look pretty. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think the Viking season is over? Do you think Bradford or Shaun Hill can lead this team to the playoffs? Are they the guy? I don't see it. Colin Kaepernick. We won't spend too much time on this because we talked about it last week. But his decision to sit during the national anthem has boosted sales of his merchandise. It really has. Now has the best-selling jersey on the team. He was 6th all year prior to his protest. On the team. Not 6th in the league, but 6th on the team. And now is number 1 again. Let's see. They also said that Kaepernick's gear was sold last week on the team website. His sales numbers have spiked. It's just been crazy. They've sold more last week than they did in the past 8 months combined. Yep. Kaepernick is now the third best-selling player jersey on NFL.com as of Monday. Third best. You know the top two? That's rookie running back for Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott, and New York Giants wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. And then right below them, Colin Kaepernick. Not bad, I guess. Not bad. The Philadelphia Eagles will start number 2 overall pick Carson Wentz, not veteran Chase Daniels, against the Cleveland Browns in week 1. Doug Peterson, the head coach of the Eagles, said, quote, "This is what I believe in. This is what our organization believes in. I'm very comfortable with our football team and Carson being our starter." Now, Wentz was apparently laying in the middle of a cornfield hunting geese in New Jersey on Saturday morning when Peterson called to deliver the news that he was going to be the starter. Not bad. Interesting. But Wentz, now, remember, he suffered a hairline rib fracture in preseason week 1, right, in the first game, and didn't play the rest of the preseason. And even in going back to his college football days, his senior year, or junior, whatever it was, his last year in college football, he missed majority of the season. And now he is going all the way, not only being the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft, but also now going to be the starter for the Philadelphia Eagles. Week 1 opener. Chase Daniels, he admit he was upset about it, but I mean, he's also going to get paid $7 million to sit on a bench, which is not too bad. Not too bad at all. It's going to be weird. Browns and the Eagles, that's going to be a very interesting game. Very interesting game. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, they released tight end / fullback / linebacker Bruce Miller. I don't know what position he was because everybody on Twitter was tweeting that he was a tight end, then they tweeted he was a fullback, then they tweeted he was a linebacker. Damn near he played everything, but now he's not going to play anything anymore. He was released on Monday after he was arrested on suspicion of assault early Monday morning in San Francisco. Citing San Francisco police sources, KTVU reported that Miller is suspected of assaulting a 70-year-old man and his son at the Marriott on Fisherman's Wharf. Miller was also arrested in March of 2015 in Santa Clara, California on suspicion of spousal battery after his then fiancée accused him of shoving her and smashing her phone during an argument. He was entering his 6th season with the team and represented the tight ends on the team's leadership council, which includes every player from every position. Good job, Miller. You just lost your career. Some news that just came in. The Steelers have signed former Titans running back David Cobb to their practice squad. So not a bad pickup. I like David Cobb. I was kind of shocked that not really shocked that the Titans released him, because of the fact that they had Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray. So that's not too shocking, but I mean, you go from a pretty good draft pick to just being cut like that after a year. The New Orleans Saints and quarterback Drew Brees are relatively close in negotiations for an extension. Okay. I thought I saw something. I'm also getting something else delivered today, and I saw a notification on my phone. I thought it was already delivered. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't hear a knock at the door. There's also been dialogue between the two for approximately a week and an exchange of proposals in recent days. Now, Brees is 37 years old. And he said he will not negotiate once the season begins. Which happens this Sunday, by the way, against the Oakland Raiders at home. Now, Brees has just 1 year left on his current contract, and with an extension, and if an extension isn't reached, he could become an unrestricted free agent next spring. And if the Saints wanted to keep him, it would cost them nearly $43 million to use a franchise tag on Brees for the 3rd time in his career. And for people that want to know, that's a 44% raise over his current salary cap cost of $30 million. Brees is going to get paid. Nah, he's not going to get the franchise tag, that's for sure. And I don't think the Saints want to really lose him right now. So we could possibly, right after the end of this recording of the show, we might see a new deal for Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Ezekiel Elliott is now cleared from the Columbus, Ohio City Attorney's Office. They declined to pursue charges against him which apparently was an alleged domestic violence incident from July involving his former girlfriend. So that he is cleared, a good thing for him. Also, Jared Goff. Man, I said it. The Rams should have never gave up what they did and never should have traded up to get Jared Goff. Just to trade up at all. Not to get Jared Goff, excuse me, scratch that. But to trade up at all. They had such a talented team. Again, a team that kept going 7-9, 8-8, and it was so close to the playoffs. Very talented team. And they let so many people go in free agency, and they gave up so much to trade up for a guy who now will not even be active on game day. He's not even going to be in uniform when the season begins. He finished the preseason as a third-string quarterback, and again, will be inactive in the first game of Monday Night Football opener against divisional rival San Francisco 49ers. Goff finished the preseason completing 22 of 49 passes for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and 4 sacks. Now, I'm not labeling him as a bust because I think it's good that Jared Goff is going to he's going to sit out an entire year, but it should have been on another team's roster. The Rams, I told you, Case Keenum is good, and they should have just believed in him a lot sooner, and they could have got someone else. They could have got a top defensive lineman in the draft. Maybe they would have got Jalen Ramsey. They could have got someone else, someone better. Yet they gave up so much for a guy that's not going to be active. And of course, they didn't know that. They thought he was going to be the starter. But again, they didn't need it. They had Case Keenum. Sean Mannion, you don't know how he's going to progress. He might even be better. And yet they gave up so much for, again, someone who's not going to sit. Real quick before we do our predictions, our game day predictions, and wrap up the show, we had the opportunity once again to talk to Matt Yustin, who is currently working in the CFL as a personnel in the personnel department, but watches tons of NFL, watches tons of college football. And we talked to him earlier this year, and we did a mock draft. Or he did, and we had him to talk about it on here on the show, and got over 10,000 views. Really well. Thank you guys so much for that. And so I said, well, let's bring him back on the show. Let's bring him back on. Let's talk about an early big board for the 2017 NFL draft. He talked about several players across the board and who he likes, and he actually says Deshaun Watson isn't the number one quarterback. There's another guy who will actually be taken above him. So listen here. We have Matt Yustin back on the show. Matt, thanks for coming back. How are you, and how's the CFL treating you?
Everything's been good. I can't complain. The Argos, we've had a good season so far. Hopefully we can get some more W's, but everything's been good. What about you?
Pretty good. Now, we did a really good job last time we spoke, with over 10,000 people watching your mock draft on the Short Sports Show. You're basically our draft expert / analyst now, so I hope that's good with you.
I love it. That sounds good.
Now, on the topic of the NFL draft, it's never too early to talk about the upcoming draft 2017, which was announced last week. It'll take place in Philadelphia this upcoming year. What are your thoughts on the location of the NFL draft? Do you like it moving around, or would you like it just staying in one area, like back to New York?
I think it's great. I think it's great for the city of Philadelphia. I think it's great for the NFL. Change is always good. We'll see how Philadelphia responds to the draft. It's great that they have a first-round pick actually now after the Sam Bradford trade. But change is always good. I'm really excited for Philadelphia.
Awesome. And now, on that, right now, who is at the top of your big board? Whether it's just the top 5, top 7, top 10, who is at your big board right now?
I'll roll through a few names, but my number one, and I do not think this is going to change, it's Myles Garrett, the defensive end out of Texas A&M. He is a stud. He's an absolute beast. If you look at Jadeveon Clowney, they're in the same tier. Myles Garrett's that good. He's ridiculously really explosive. He's put on some weight since last season. I still think there's some things he has to clean up technically, like some better hand usage. He needs to kind of come into each play with a plan. But he's beating some of the best players, the best tackles in the SEC. He's beating them just straight up by speed. He's just running by them. And it's been very productive, 10-plus sacks last 2 seasons. And it won't surprise me if he gets to more than 15 this year. He is a stud. The next guy is, right now, it's Deshaun Watson. He is a very impressive player. But I do think Deshaun Kaiser, the quarterback out of Notre Dame, will pass Deshaun Watson when I actually end up giving final grades. I do think Deshaun Kaiser is a better NFL quarterback than Watson is. He's bigger. He doesn't have the injury history Watson has. Watson obviously had the ACL tear a couple of years ago. He's had some hand issues. So Watson, he's small as well, 6'2", 210. So you're looking at like RG3 size when he came out of Baylor. So Watson's a little small. Kaiser's 6'4", 230, with an absolute cannon. He's playing in more of a pro-style system. And what he did against Texas was outstanding. He did it all last year. And I think he may win the Heisman. He's my pick right now to win the Heisman. I think he's going to have a very productive season once he gets all the starting reps over Malik Zaire. But yeah, back on topic, I think Kaiser's going to beat out Watson. A few other guys that I'm looking at, Malik McDowell. He may end up overtaking Watson for the second spot on my big board in the next couple weeks. He's so versatile. He's so athletic. He's strong. Right now he's about 6'6", 280. But he plays much bigger than that in a sense that he's very, very strong. But he plays smaller than that as well because he can beat guys around the edge. He can straight up just run by guards because of how athletic he is. He's one of the better defensive tackle prospects in a long time. Like, if I were to compare him to someone, maybe like a hybrid of Fletcher Cox and Sheldon Richardson, in the sense that you could literally play him anywhere. You could play him as a 3-4 outside linebacker if you wanted to. You could play him as a 5 technique where he could 2-gap. He is very, very scary. Another guy that's similar to him this year is John Allen, the defensive end out of Alabama. He's around 6'3", 293. He's a very technically sound player. His hand usage is gorgeous. He fights off blocks very well because of that. He plays in a very different system at Alabama. He's not really penetrating as much as other guys. He's playing in like mostly a 3-4, so he's kind of forced to 2-gap and read what the play is doing instead of penetrating, getting into the backfield. So he may not be as crazy, like statistically and production-wise, as guys like McDowell, but he is a very, very strong prospect, kind of similar to Jarrell Casey from Tennessee. Another guy is Tim Williams, the outside linebacker from Alabama. He's 6'3", around 240. It looks like he's bulked up a little bit, but he's an edge rusher. He was a part-time player, as in he only played on passing downs last year, but Alabama's trying to get him more involved this year in the run game. And against USC, he looked good against the run. He was setting the edge really well. He was forcing running backs to kind of bounce outside. He was clogging gaps. He was setting the edge. He was doing a very good job of that. He's technically sound, as in he has good hand usage. He has a plan when he's going into a rush. You can kind of tell he knows what he's doing. But he's also very, very athletic and flexible. His hips are great. He can bend around the edge. He can do anything for you. It's just, one, can he hold up against the run in the NFL? And two, is he big enough? That's the biggest thing with him. Some DBs, Jamal Adams, I need to take more of a look at him, but as of right now, he's my number one strong safety. Jabril Peppers may actually be my favorite player in this class, the safety out of Michigan. Not my top ranked player, but my favorite, just because of how interesting he is. He was timed at like a low 4.3 at 6'1", 210 pounds, I believe he is. And he's playing safety. He hits like he's 250, runs like he's 180. He has ball skills, and he's crazy. He's like a Swiss Army knife because you can literally put him anywhere. You can put him at inside linebacker. You can put him at safety. You can put him outside at corner. You can put him at nickel corner. You can maybe have him rush the passer a little bit. You can put him back on kick return. You can put him at receiver. He's done all of that. Adoree Jackson's a guy that does the same things as Jabril, but I'm not as big of a fan as him. A fan of him right now. I just think he has a few technical things to clean up, but he might be the most athletic player in this class. Don't be surprised if he runs below 4.35. And honestly, what everyone's kind of looking at, what everyone's been waiting for, is the running back class. It is absurd. It is absolutely ridiculous how deep and how top-heavy this class actually is. So there's the obvious names: Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey. Those four guys are absolute studs. All four of them have potential to be top backs in this league. Obviously, McCaffrey being the runner-up in the Heisman race, a lot of eyes are going to be on him. There's going to be a lot of hype around him, but people kind of need to temper their expectations with him, just because I don't think he's a three-down back in the NFL. I think you move him around and kind of use him as a chess piece, because I don't think he's a first-round player just because he's not going to be like Dalvin Cook or Nick Chubb or Leonard Fournette, that he's going to be able to get 20, 25 carries a game. He's not like that. He's more of a Reggie Bush kind of back like that. There's the guy in Detroit. I can't think of his name right now. He's very similar to him in the sense that he's a very good pass-catching back. So you can move him around to the slot. You can play him a lot there. I wouldn't say he's LaShawn McCoy, but he has the same skill set as LaShawn McCoy. So the running back class, I haven't even been able to get as deep as I want to in it. It goes so deep. Like the top four guys, as I just mentioned, even you go below them, you go Samaje Perine from Oklahoma. He has the potential to be a top 10 back in the league. He is a brute, absolute brute. He's like 5'10", 230, maybe pushing 240. Runs people over, but his flexibility, his agility, and kind of his suddenness and ability to cut really quickly are surprisingly good for how big of a dude he is. But he is going to be pushing the threshold on the amount of carries that NFL teams want from their prospects. He has a lot of tread on his tires, and he's only a junior this year, so that's something people need to look at. His backup, Joe Mixon, is a very good back as well. I believe he's a redshirt sophomore right now. He athletic, can catch the ball, has some burst. I haven't been able to get as deep as I want to and give a final grade on him yet because there's so much ball left. But he looks very good. This running back class is absolutely absurd. It kind of feels like every single team in the NFL is going to be able to get a starter or a backup. Like it's that good. It's so deep and it's so top heavy. So you're going to see more than 3 running backs taken in the first round. That's my prediction right now. Unless something crazy happens, like Fournette gets hurt or Cook gets hurt or something like that. But as of right now, I believe there's going to be 3, maybe 4 backs that go in the first round. It's going to be a crazy draft. In my opinion, this is the deepest draft since 2011. It's the most top-heavy draft since 2011. You're getting guys like Malik McDowell, as I've said, who I think could be one of the best prospects in the last 10 years if he plays up to his potential. And if he actually comes out, he said he didn't want to come out unless he's a top 3 pick. I believe that he's going to destroy worlds this year and end up being a top 3 pick. He's that good. I'm absolutely enthralled. I'm so excited for this draft. I can't even tell you, Daniel. It's going to be amazing.
And I absolutely agree with that. The running back class, I mean, is going to be where, just like you said, every team's going to have their chance to get a really good back. Now, you're a Cleveland Browns fan, I would say. And last week, we tweeted back and forth on the possibility of the Browns having 2 top 10 picks, which, is great. Now, if this happens, I said the Browns should go with LSU running back Leonard Fournette and Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson. You disagreed, but you had some two other good players. Now, who would you take?
So I'm sitting here right now, and I've been going back and forth on this over the last few days, but I think RG3 is going to be. I think he's going to have a rough season. I don't think he is. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback mentally. Physically, he could be. The sky's the limit. He is so athletic. His arm's so strong. But I just don't think he's there mentally. So I think he may have a tough time this season. So I think they're going to be picking number 1 overall. And if you're at that spot with your own pick, I think you have to go quarterback. In my opinion, the best quarterback when April rolls around, it's going to be Deshaun Kaiser. So I may be alone on this one, but I've thought Kaiser had the best tools out of anyone in this draft that could come out. I think he has the best tools out of anyone. And I've thought this for a couple months. So we'll see how that plays out. But if they're at 1, I'm taking Kaiser. And I'd sit him behind RG3 for a year and let him blossom. And Philadelphia, after the Sam Bradford trade, I don't think they're going to be very good, unfortunately for them. They're a great organization. They've done some amazing things this offseason. I think they have a very, very bright future, but I don't know if they're going to be great this season. So I think they're going to be maybe even in the top 5, and Cleveland owns their pick. I'd go with edge rusher Tim Williams at that spot. I think Cleveland really needs another edge rusher. Emmanuel Ogbah, and Joe Schobert, who is the linebacker from Wisconsin. Both of them, they're listed as their starters for week 1. And I don't think that's very good. I think they need more impact players than that on the edge, because that's where games are won and lost. Big sacks, that's what turns the tides. That's what changes games. And I don't think they really have the personnel to get after the quarterback. I think Ogbah is going to be a good sub-package defensive end. I don't think he's going to be very good. And they're a 3-4 team. I don't think he's very good as a base 3-4 outside linebacker. So I think they need to find a guy that can play that 3-4 outside linebacker spot. And I think Tim Williams is the perfect guy for that.
Awesome. Now, finally wrapping this up, we got game predictions. Now, we won't do college football. Now, I originally was planning on, but looking at who we've got, I mean, you have, Alabama taking on some weak school. You got Charleston Southern taking on Florida State. Not really good predictions there. So let's go ahead, and we got the NFL Week 1 starting this week, starting Thursday. Let's go ahead. Panthers, Broncos, who you got?
I think the Panthers are going to absolutely destroy the Broncos. I think Trevor Siemian, I think he's going to have a little bit of a difficult time against that Panthers defense. I know they lost a little bit in the secondary with Josh Norman, but I think they'll be just fine without him. I think Carolina is going to destroy them in all three phases of the game. It's going to be a rough game in my opinion. I think Cam Newton's going to go out. I think he's going to play a good game, and I'm excited to see how Kelvin Benjamin does in his first game back.
And then we got the Browns and the Eagles, 2 different teams, starting with brand new quarterbacks, new eras. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Eagles. I think they'll come out. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game somewhat. I think it'll be like 27-24 around there. I think Carson Wentz is going to get his first career start. I think he's going to go out. I think he's going to play a decent game against Cleveland, who is going to have a historically bad defense, maybe one of the worst defenses of all time. So, yeah, I think Philly's going to take that game, and people are going to really start hyping up Carson Wentz after that.
Yeah. Then we got the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott starts his first game. Eli Manning. I don't know about you, but I got Sterling Shepard winning Rookie of the Year. I think something special is in that kid. So I'm going to go Giants here, but who do you got?
I'm going Giants, too. I completely agree with you with the Sterling Shepard thing. He is an absolute stud. I have no idea how he won the second round. Like, people are so concerned about height, weight, speed. I understand you need to scout traits and you need to find traits in guys, but there is something about Sterling Shepard, and also tangibly, physically, his route running is impeccable. It's amazing. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think the Giants will win this game, but I do agree with the Sterling Shepard pick. I think he's going to be very, very good this year.
And finally, we have the Steelers and the Washington Redskins on Monday night. Who you got there?
I'm going to have to take the Steelers. I think they're going to be in the Super Bowl this year, and I think they're going to get off to a hot start. So I think Washington is going to be a victim of Big Ben and the crew. I think the Redskins, I think they're going down, unfortunately, for that.
Well, Matt, thank you for joining us here on the Short Sports Show. I look forward to talking to you again towards the end of the season when we can really have you obviously have more time watching game film throughout the season. And you never know. First pick could be a right guard for all we know.
Possibly. You never know in the NFL. Any given Sunday.
Right. Well, thank you, Matt, again, and I will look forward to seeing you or talking to you.
Yep. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too. And I appreciate Matt Yustin for his time. Again, you can follow him on Twitter at Matt Yustin. Highly recommend it. He is awesome. He covers everything football-wise. It's awesome to talk to him. And we'll have him back on the show here in a couple months when college football season is wrapping up. And we'll for sure do a mock draft, but that'll be probably like a couple of weeks before the NFL draft, so we'll try to have them on before then as well to talk about some other things in college football and, of course, scouting, things like that. So our prediction time is here. Thursday night, Week 1 NFL football is finally here. It's kickoff time, baby. Panthers and the Broncos, a Super Bowl rematch. Carolina is a 3-point favorite. This game's at 7:30 Central Time on NBC, and I am taking the Carolina Panthers here. Trevor Siemian, good luck. Good luck. Taking the Panthers here. Sunday, we have Packers and Jaguars. Packers are a 4.5-point favorite. Taking the Packers here. Of course, taking the Packers. It's going to be a good game, though. See how the Jacksonville Jaguars are. Jacksonville is hosting this game, so might help them out a little bit, but I think Packers are they're much more ahead of them. Bills and the Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and take the Ravens here. Barely, though. Barely. Ravens are a 3-point favorite. I just think the Bills lost too much on defense, and Ravens are going to make up for it. Bears against the Texans. I'm going to go ahead and take the Texans here. Texans are a 6.5-point favorite. Browns and the Eagles. Going to be a pretty good game. New eras for both teams. New head coach for the Browns, Hugh Jackson. New quarterback, RG3. Should be a good game to watch. Eagles, of course, giving the keys and starting their new era with Carson Wentz, rookie. Philadelphia's a 4-point favorite. I'm actually going to take the Browns on this one. I'm taking the Browns. I'm going with the shocker. Going with the Browns. Buccaneers against the Falcons. Taking the Falcons here. Atlanta's a 3-point favorite. Vikings against the Tennessee Titans. Going to take the Tennessee Titans here now. Minnesota, though, is a 1.5-point favorite. Bengals against the Jets. I'm taking the Bengals here. Bengals are a 2.5-point favorite. Raiders against the Saints. I'm taking the Raiders here. Yeah, I'm going with it. Going with the Raiders. Chargers against the Kansas City Chiefs. Taking the Kansas City Chiefs here. I hope the Chargers win as a Chargers fan, but I just don't see it happening. Kansas City is also a 7-point favorite. Then at 3:05 p.m. Central Time on CBS, the Miami Dolphins travel to Seattle, Washington, take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is a 10.5-point favorite, and I'm taking the Seahawks here. Lions against the Colts. Gonna take the Colts here. Colts are a 3.5-point favorite. Giants versus the Cowboys. The line is even. This game is 3:25 p.m. Central Time on Fox. And I'm taking the New York Giants. I think the Giants got it. And we just got some news coming in, and we're just talking about how the Bills lost people on defense. Well, they just lost their offensive tackle. If I can get it. Central Henderson. Pretty sure I said that wrong. He is suspended for the first 4 games of the season. He is trying to appeal it for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. Good job, dude. Good job. Bills are also going to get in trouble now because that's another player who's being suspended and fined for violating that policy, the substance abuse policy. They're really going to get hit with a fine now. Marcel Darius was one of them. And I'm missing a couple others. They were not good. But yeah, I'm going with the Giants here. I feel it in them. I got the Giants here. I hope the Cowboys win for Dak Prescott, but I'm going with the Giants. Then finally, Sunday Night Football, it is the New England Patriots without Tom Brady taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona is a 6-point favorite, 7:30 p.m. Central Time on NBC. And I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals here, big time. I think they get this game a good 24-10 victory over the Patriots. The defense for the Cardinals is there. I know they lost some secondary guys, but going with the Cardinals here. Monday night we have a doubleheader. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on Washington, and Pittsburgh is a 3-point favorite. This game's at 6:00 on ESPN, and I'm taking the Steelers here. Scratch that. Taking Washington. No. I'm taking Steelers. I know. Back and forth. Taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to get the victory. And then finally, the Los Angeles Rams taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Rams are a 2.5-point favorite. And I'm taking the Rams here. Taking the Rams game at 9:20 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. And I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed. And again, thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I have this brand new microphone that I'm absolutely in love with, and I'm getting some decorations for the studio. It's going to look nicer, and the show is continuing to grow. Thank you so much, everyone. As always, God first, God bless, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Get ready for some college football. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Whether you're listening on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, wherever it is, be sure to subscribe, rate, review, share it with your friends and family. And I'm out. Peace.